He was carrying a symbol of hope, but nobody knew it would destroy him.
In October 2022, thousands of fans gathered at St. Andrew's Hall in Detroit. The mood in the room lacked the usual pre-show adrenaline of an extreme metal concert. It was heavy with grief. 5 months earlier, the Black Dahlia Murders frontman, Trevor Strnad, had died at the age of 41. For 21 years, Trevor had been the welcoming, beating heart of the American death metal scene. Without him, the community assumed the band was finished. Replacing an iconic voice and a personality that defined a genre for 2 decades seemed impossible. But that night in Detroit, co-founder and rhythm guitarist Brian Eschbach walked to the center microphone. He told the crowd that if the roles were reversed, Trevor would have kept the band going. Stepping into that spotlight was a deliberate act of preservation. Eschbach took on the responsibility of ensuring an entire era of the metal community survived its darkest hour. Back in 2001, the extreme metal scene was historically rigid and heavily gatekept. The Black Dahlia Murder emerged from Waterford, Michigan, looking completely wrong for the part. They were blue-collar kids who rejected traditional spikes and corpse paint in favor of a casual skate punk attitude. Underneath that unassuming look, they engineered a highly specific sonic hybrid. They took the aggressive punishment of American death metal and fused it with the sharp, accessible melodies of Swedish legends like At the Gates and Carcass. This combination caught fire on early social media. The band found an unexpected, massive crossover audience online, quickly gaining immense popularity among MySpace scene kids who were just discovering heavy music. By ignoring the standard rules of metal elitism, they became the ultimate gateway band, bringing a massive, entirely new generation directly into extreme music. They didn't build their empire through mainstream radio. They built it on a relentless, brute force touring ethic. Year after year, they grinded through grueling tour circuits. They headlined major genre staples like Summer Slaughter and Ozfest, and even played the entire 2013 Warped Tour, sharing the stage with a wildly diverse crowd. This chart tracks the band's studio albums on the US Billboard 200 over time. Following their debut, their next 8 consecutive records landed on the charts. Looking at their 2011 release, Ritual, the line spikes to number 31, an incredibly high placement for extreme metal. They dragged the mainstream into the dark. The Black Dahlia Murder pulled massive commercial numbers without ever softening their aggressively heavy sound. Moving forward after Trevor's death in 2022 required a complex internal realignment. This organizational flowchart illustrates the structural shift. Brian Eschbach permanently abandoned his rhythm guitar duties to take over lead vocals, while former lead guitarist Ryan Knight returned to the band to fill the open rhythm spot. This new formation hit the studio, resulting in the June 2024 single Aftermath, followed closely by their 10th studio album Servitude. The release of Servitude provided a concrete answer to the fans' anxiety. By delivering a 10th studio album that mirrored the high-tempo technicality of their earlier work, the new lineup demonstrated they could sustain the band's identity and professional standard without their original frontman. Trevor Strnad often said that while their sound was metal, their ethics were rooted in punk. He loved that hardcore had a sense of community, devoid of the fierce competition usually found in metal. That exact inclusive community, painstakingly built over 20 years on the road, became the crucial support system that kept the band afloat when they needed it most. Continuing the band is a commitment to protecting a shared history. Every performance ensures that 2 decades of creative output remain a functional, touring reality rather than a silent archive. Ultimately, the band's resilience validates the community-first philosophy Trevor Strnad spent his life building. They proved that a collective identity can endure even a devastating loss, securing a future for the music that helped define American death metal.